Hi everyone. We've all wasted a lot of time trying to get a local database or even Kafka broker to play with a nice our Java application. Today, I'm going to show you dev services in the IBM Enterprise build of Quarkus. This is a zero config infrastructure, and I'm going to show you also how Quarkus automatically defects your dependencies and spins up the required containers for you. No manual setup, no connection strings, just instant productivities. Let's see how we handle a fresh database with the Quarkus dev services. For the demo environment, I already provisioned the Quarkus Check Demo Sandbox and IBM Tech Zone. Of course, you can use your own local machine to repeat this demo with some disk guide. So this demo sandbox environment allowed me to have some small virtual machine, which already pre-installed everything I need, like a tools and Quarkus CLI, Maven command line, and a Podman container runtimes, and Java, and among others. And let's get into that environment. I already opened VS Code for my existing Quarkus simple project. Just two REST API, one configuration management with some multiple city based on target environment when I deploy packaging application. And then we'll just check it out PalmXML. I use a RACE 3.27.1 IBM Video Quarkus version. Let me start Quarkus dev using Quarkus CLI. And it takes a couple seconds to start up. And when I go to another terminal to use curl command to access endpoint, as you can see, hi Daniel from New York City, and then hello IBM Quarkus. When I go to dev UI, as you can see, there are a few dependencies already pulled down when I schedule my project, like a BirdX and the rest and so on. This is really good. So let me try to add a few more extensions. Let's say I'm going to add like a data transaction business requirement into my existing project. For example, a JDBC connection using PostSQL database and Hibernate ORM, Panache, which is like a JPA implementation. And I'm going to use some like a JSON format, data serialization or deserialization between the application and specific database. So three new dependency library and extension I just edited using Quarkus CLI. When I go back to PalmXML, you can see three dependency automatically install and pull down relevant library from Maven repo. And when I use a Podman CLI, like a container runtime, like a Docker, and then it shows there's no image, no process. But when you go back to my Quarkus demo, it automatically pulling all the database image from container registry. You can actually specify container registry where you want to pull in that image, also specific container image version and tag as well. And go back to another terminal and run Podman process again, you will see the one PostSQL container process is running. When I go back to dev UI, now you see a bunch of the new dependency, for example, database, Hibernate ORM, and like a JDBC kind of stuff. And you go to dev service menu. This is very interesting for developers because the developer most likely memorize what kind of key and value they need to understand and use that for specific database connection. For example, what is my database schema management strategy? Just create or delete or drop and create or update, or what is the username password for credential, and what is the JDBC URL to access database? You need to do anything about that at least on dev mode, because the Quarkus is Zen mode and then dev service automatically do that for you, which I mentioned earlier, zero configuration infrastructure. So you could just copy some of the key and value, specify in the production environment. When you stop it in the packaging application, you literally define this all key and value with this production environment. You just copy, drag and drop, or copy and test one product environment, and you click the button and back to the application property, and then just paste it. So let's try to add a few entity class to actually use database here. So I'm going to add a new person entity from Panache entity, which he automatically define fundamental operation, like a create, delete, and update kind of thing, name and city, just two attribute. And then I'm going to add a new REST API to retrieve all data, like a person table, So let's say this is a non-reactive application. I just remove the non-blocking annotation. A new endpoint person and restore all database. So and like a person object based on list correction. And the return is a person that lists all. So this all is already defined and implemented in the Panache entity Java class. For developer, they don't need to implement this fundamental database operation on your Java code. We just get rid of that thanks to Quarkus. Alright, that's it. I just have a file. Then I just need to add one SQL file. Just imagine that in a dev environment, you probably have your own data for test. For Spring Boot, for example, you have to create like a DML and DDL to create a schema, table, and index, and among other all relationship. And then after that, you're gonna insert actual data into that schema. But Quarkus that service automatically create a schema based on your Java beans, like a person entity, and you just need the only thing, you just maybe insert some specific data in advance for your prepared testing scenario. So I'm gonna insert the three different data to the person, insert the SQL command line, and then like a first data like a Daniel, and then from Boston, and then like I just typo Daniel and Justin from New York City, and Jenny from San Francisco. Pretty cool. Just three data. And then when I just invoke a new REST API, which is like a hello slash person, and now you can see that Justin from New York City, Jenny is from San Francisco, and then Daniel from Boston. So in the meantime, I never ever try to stop my Quarkus demo, and I don't need to some like a container command line like a Docker Powerman to Docker like a Docker pull Powerman run kind of everything. I don't need to that. I just define my Java dependency, and the Quarkus Blade will automatically stand up for me the database container and just connect to my application immediately. There are more dev services for developer, but there are many use cases and application type, not only database, and then there are like a messaging broker, and then like a Apple Courier registry, and a Kafka, Kikra, even Kubernetes, and like a hash couple word and observability. There are many kinds of stuff you can actually use that today. Just go to quarks.io and the dev services manual page and guide. You can find more detail. That's it for the demo today. If you want to find more resources about IBM Enterprise Builder Quarkus, please visit ibm.com products Enterprise Builder Quarkus page. Thanks for watching.